Hello and welcome back, everyone. I will be continuing the wig videos. For today, we will be making a black wig that has straight across bangs. I will put a reference photo somewhere on the screen for you guys. There's a lot of anime characters that have that hair, so it won't be hard to find it. So these are the wefts I bought on Amazon. I will link them below for you guys. They are all affiliate links. Just a heads up. All of the proceeds that come from the affiliate links go directly into the channel to invest into better content and funner projects that usually obviously cost a little more. So yeah. So if you're wondering why I have the chip here, it's to test for staining for the little wefts. Let me try to focus on them. Okay, so it's kind of focused, I guess. Or maybe that's all the focus we're going to get. See, as you can see, it's like, it's kind of like a surged edge. But luckily it didn't stain at all. This is just like the mark from the pressure, so no stains. So besides that, everything will be linked below. And the way we're going to do this wig is by going all around. I totally messed up. I ended up cutting the wig for like a piece to test. I was just out of it, so that was a mistake. Do not cut your wefts. Now I lost this little bit and I have 2 whole pieces, so don't cut your wefts. Especially if you're gonna do this method where we start at the back and just kind of roll around. You kind of just spiral around the head until you reach to the top, and then it's like a whole little spiral, continuous, just sewing all around. You probably don't have to mark since you just start at one place and go all around and work your way. So I'm not gonna mark. I'm just gonna start at the back, start right above where the elastic casing is, right above. Do not sew into the elastic casing. If you do that, you will restrict the movement that the case has, and it'll make it tougher to get rid of all the little puckers and send them to the back. So just keep that in mind, and sew on top only on the 1 layer of mesh. So we're gonna start at the back, work our way around like I said, and when we reach the top, we're gonna leave a little bald spot open, and then we're gonna use a piece of the weft, roll it up, and then just find a way to make that so it gets sealed off the top of the head. And then for this wig, we will actually have to cut the wig to cut the bangs, so we'll just have to cut straight across. So that's what we have planned for today. So thanks for joining me, and if you haven't yet, please leave a like. I really appreciate any like, comment, subscriber that we get our way. You guys have no idea how much it helps. So yeah, let's jump right in and get started. Okay, so I went ahead and separated the 2 pieces I accidentally clipped, but ended up helping me a lot in preparing the wefts, so maybe actually clip them in half, it may help you. Quick comb, and besides that, where to go? So, this is the needle I'm going to be using. I'm using a curved needle since it really helps when you go in, it automatically just pops out, and it's easier than using a straight needle. It just helps pull the needle out, and in my opinion, it reduces the risk of scratching and poking your doll, but I don't know. Besides that, I will be using a clear thread, a little clear plastic thread. It looks like fishing line, but I highly think it's not. And I'm only using this because I was too lazy to test out all of my black threads, and I just didn't want to risk any staining, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this. Now, if you have time, go ahead and test your thread, and get back to me, let me know which ones don't stain, so I could use those. But in the meantime, I think this will be a perfect, substitution, since it's barely visible on its own, so that'll be great. See? Okay, so here's the weft, and all you have to do is just place it right above the elastic casing. I think we should bring it over a little bit more, so when it overlaps, there isn't just this random start of hair, and then you may even see it. These barely hold on, but I find that it really helps every once in a while. Just having like a little pin in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin the first round of hair like that. The hair will get in the way, so just be prepared for that. Okay. I just pinch a little bit of the wig cap, and then I run it through the weft. So I think that's enough for now. As you can see, it kind of holds it in place instead of you keeping your hand there and having to stitch. So from here on out, I'm just gonna do a blanket stitch, which kind of, let me just show you how it looks. Just putting my knot at the end. Okay. I don't need this pin anymore. You pinch through, and you just loop it through your needle. Just start that first little knot. You run it through the weft, and right before you pull that stitch all the way through, you loop it through that loop, and it creates this little like knot. And then we do 2. Since it's the start of the wig and we just really want to secure that. Pull it through. I'm actually going to do a regular stitch for this one, and then end it with the blanket stitch before we move on. It goes through, and as you're pulling, hold that loop with your finger. I think it's already been run through. Oh well, just do it again. You run it through, and as you can see, boom, creates like a little knot. And that's basically what I do to keep these wigs on. So you punch, you stitch through the weft and the mesh, you hold with one finger the little loop, and as you pull, use your finger to guide it, otherwise one side of the string of the loop could get like tightened quicker and it'll just mess up the tension. So it's kind of advice, so just loop it with your finger before you make the stitch. And loop it. That's a weird stitch. So get some mesh, go through the loop, through the weft, and then you grab the loop with the hand before you pull the needle through, and boom. This is your next stitch. And also just make sure your wig cap is aligned, it's touching both ear sides, and it's like staying intact. Every once in a while I recommend you do like a double stitch just to lock it on in place. Since this is like plastic, it tends to like not tighten and it loosens itself up. Kind of like if you try to knot your hair, it won't really knot if it's like a few strands. It's kind of like that. So I keep a few stitches extra, well just one after every few blanket stitches, just to secure it and to make sure it's staying intact and not like loose. Okay, so from here on, I'm just going to repeat the same process. This is basically the first, like the little learning curve, where you start off, you do your first blanket stitch, you do a regular stitch, tighten it, one more blanket stitch just to secure it, and you move on to the next one, and then the next one. And just remember, grab your thread, run your finger, grab some mesh. Oh man, the little thread's getting in the way. Some mesh, and then grab some, poke through the weft, not through the hair. Make sure you feel some what do I call it? Some like resistance when you're poking it through. That's how you know you're stitching through the right part of the weft. Otherwise, you're just like dividing the hair and stitching like around it. So we want to get into that hair weft and like tightly secure it. Okay, so then you do that, and then there you go. And then if you want to do your extra stitch, you go in again, same place. And then if you just hold it sometimes, you just loop it right away. So then you hold, go through, and as you can see, you're holding it already. And as you pull it through, it's already inside the loop. So there, boom. And we just do that all the way around. And eventually we're gonna overlap back here and then start a new one and just overlap again. And that's how we go. So from now on, I will speed up the videos just so you guys can see the whole process without it taking like 4 hours or whatever. So yeah, let's get started. Let's finish this wig up and then we'll get to cutting it. Alright, so as we finish up the wig, all you have to do with this thing is just stitch around, grab a little bit of the mesh and the weft. Sometimes it's easier if you just run it through first. And then you kind of just find a soft spot, because I did melt, as you saw earlier, this together, so it is hard in some areas, so just be careful with that. I don't know if you saw earlier, I barely, like, I skinned myself with the needle, and it was a close one, but see, and as you do that, it kind of just closes up on its own. I know over here it's a little wide, but that's just how it's gonna be. I may get a chance to go in there later on and add like some extra weft, but honestly, I don't know. I'll see. So now we're just doing our last few stitches. There you go. And then it's just some regular. Okay. So this is the front of the head, and this is the back over here, obviously. And so let's just like adjust the wig. Make sure it's down both sides. And we bring the hair forward. As you can see, it kind of just covers everything up. And I'm happy I put the side with more hair at the back, because it ended up really covering all of that. So, it's pretty flat back here. I'm gonna go ahead and brush all of this out and make it nice. Maybe even braid it and then do a boil wash just to set the hair. And with the boil wash, you just get hot water, like barely boiling. You can even put like a rubber band around something, and you just drop it on top, and it should reset the fibers and have them fall nicely. I know it looks a little weird up here, but really, like, who's gonna be staring at that? Like, who cares? Okay. And then there will be some little short hairs you can just clip later on. Alright. So, I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll be back. Alright, so, judge me all you guys want, but this is the method I will be using to dry my wig. So you can see this is the part, and while doing the boil wash, a bad thing did happen. I think the hot water like softened like that part we burned, so it started unraveling. But I'm not sure if I'm going to sew this. Most likely I'll probably super glue it. I don't know. I will see. And I will let you guys know either way, so don't worry. But yeah, that's that. And it still parts beautifully, and you know, it looks fine if you don't really know what's going on. That is that. So did the boil wash to set this part first. Then I let it cool. Then the hair got really tangled up. So I put water. I dipped it in the water that went into the jar. To this jar. Since this is a jar and there's a top of the jar, and I just put the wig on top around, and the water that goes in just falls inside and still like sets the hair a bit. But obviously the other fibers will draw water and get wet, so that happens. I have no idea where the part is, since there's no part really. So that's another difficulty with this type of wig. There's hair in every direction, so if you don't remember where you started, it's hard to tell what directions what. At this point, I'm just combing it and make sure it doesn't look too crazy. It's going to air dry probably for the rest of the day. Okay, so everything didn't go as I hoped. After this unraveled from the hot water, I believe, I noticed how off center it was and how much space we have in this weft right here. So I'm gonna undo this, take off the middle part, and go back and re-sew that part. And just make sure, I need to make sure that this part fits in, otherwise it'll like stick up and it'll be super noticeable. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that. I'll probably do it off cam since you guys already know what's going on and what I will be doing. So yeah, so I'm just removing this and fixing this weft, pulling it down a little more just to make room for the big part. So yeah. Okay, so I'm so nervous to cut this hair. I've never cut bangs like this. Just to catch you guys up, I went ahead and tied a ponytail on the back to keep the hair together, and tied a little right here. I kind of want to just cut from right here, but I know it's advised to start lower. Okay, so at this point, I know this video is gonna be pretty long, so I'm tired. Oh, I'm not tired, but I'm done. Like trying to like not rush it, but make it as short as possible. There's a lot of information that's gonna be needed for this video. So, yeah. So what happened here? And it looks like a mess. I flipped back the other wefts. I know there's a lot here. I could have brought it down a little more, but I do have some hair here left over, so I could make at least like a thin little weft, but we'll see. And honestly, I could fold it in half, which is how you do it. Okay, let's not get into it. It's a whole other topic. So to hold this hair back, I put the little piece of fabric, tied it around, and what I'm going to do is just bring it down. As you can see, you can really tell where the hair is gonna land. So I'm thinking that I could do something like this, and just like do little tiny cuts. Okay, so I left her hair overnight. Oh, well, that moved. Like this, in hopes that it brought it down, and it kind of did work. I didn't want to use more hot water, so I'm kind of happy with how it turned out. I do feel like I cut too much into the bangs, but at the same time, like you could bring over the hair and like cover that part, and it kind of makes up for it. So, and I do have these wefts, like I said, so well, it's not a weft, it's just cut hair. But I'm really considering making some extra wefts just to fill in, like I could at least add like 2 rows right here, and that would greatly like increase like the fullness of it, even back here. And then I could add like a few long strands, like right here, just to blend into the short hair. But honestly, so the total for this wig was I paid about $10 for the wefts, $10 for the big shirt, the little meshy shirt I took apart. I just couldn't find any other material online, so I had to use that, and that was $10, which doesn't even account for all the other different wigs you can make with the leftover fabric. So this is about like what, an under $15 wig technically, and it's not horrible. It does the job, so I'm pretty happy with it. I might end up doing like one final like boil wash down here just to get rid of this fizziness down here. But besides that, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. There are like some fullness issues, but it's fine. And if I add those little hairs like over here, that'll be great. And here's the top. The top still needs like a little adjustment, but it's not horrible. Alright, so I switched to like vlog style, I guess. And this is how it looks from the back. It's really long. It is very thin up here, so I have decided to make a part 2 video where I show you guys how I make the actual wefts using the hair I cut off from the bangs, just to save some, money and to reuse hair and make sure it doesn't get wasted. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I do like how the bangs look, but they still need some work. I don't know if you can tell how I curved them wrong, I guess, at the end. So I'm gonna have to undo that and just keep this little hair thing I made with the elastic that just holds everything in place, just like the start of the previous clip, I guess. So that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, so I guess my next video I'll be showing you guys how I add the wefts in here, and hopefully you'll see the bangs a lot better. But I'm not like too mad at the attempt. It doesn't look horrible, and I'm quite happy with it for a like $12 wig. Come on, you can't tell me that's horrible. Someone probably will though. That's the internet. But there it is. Okay, so I decided to braid the hair before I did the last boil wash. This is kind of how it looks. That holds it in place. And the vinyl heads can surprisingly withstand boiling water. It's been confirmed. I took a risk and it kind of paid off since nothing crazy happened. So now I'm just gonna let it air dry, and hopefully once it air dries, the bangs should be how we want them. So this is after I took off the little elastic that I had on there. It's dried up for the most part. I braided it and then dipped it in hot water when doing the bangs. So I'm gonna go ahead and try them on and then fix them, and I'll show you the end result. Okay, so this is the final look for the wig, I believe, for this video. I'm kind of happy with how the bangs turned out, even though they're not exactly where I want them to be. They look a lot less curved in person. So in person it looks more like this. But somehow the camera just kind of warps it out and makes it look a lot bigger than it actually is. So this is without flash, and in a bit I could change with flash. This is how the hair looks. Now that it's kind of braided, it looks a little more natural instead of just like straight. Let me turn her around. So this is how the top looks now after the last oil wash. It definitely set the hair how I wanted it, to the point where it kind of covers any like openedness in the front that has little peeking areas of the wig, I guess. So that worked out, and this is the back of the hair. It is a little more curly now since it was braided. So for my next video, like I've mentioned a few times throughout this video, I will be making more wefts out of this hair I cut from the bangs. And I will be, let me see if I can pick some out. Not pick out, but like, see all this space right there under the wefts? All of that I'm gonna fill in, and hopefully it'll make the hair a lot more fuller, and it'll blend in this cut right here. I think I went too much into the sides. There's like this stray hair over here that just kind of goes over there, so yeah. So that's that, and I'm pretty excited because I know it's gonna be a cute wig, and I just want some hairs to cover more of her head like that. I feel like that would really help, making it look a lot better. But yeah, so that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I know it didn't turn out perfect, but this was my first attempt, and I know for a fact that if we all just keep trying, you know, each attempt gets way better. So that's the hair. Thank you guys for watching and sticking around and being patient with me through all these trials and errors. So before I go, I'm gonna go ahead and log off, but I'll show you how it looks with flash. It doesn't look as nice, just warning you guys ahead of time. It looks a little crazy, but switching over. Okay, so this is how it looks with the flash. I want to just bring that hair down a bit more, and that kind of helps. But I can definitely see where I went over. Or if I could just find a way to make the hair just kind of stick down instead of having it plop up. It looks a lot more open and like fluffed up in the camera than it does in person. In person, it looks like a decent wig. But hey, you guys, like for $12, like, and some of your time and effort, that's the wig you get. Doesn't look too horrible. Like, come on, give me some props in the comments, you guys. Like, it's not that bad. It's pretty good. So that's that. Next video, I will definitely be making the wefts and showing you guys how I add them to the bangs and how I fix that. So keep an eye out. And once again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate the time and, you know, dedication to watching my videos, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. So thanks again. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, learned anything new, and please subscribe if you want to see more. See you guys next time.